Hello guys, I'm gonna show you guys today probably one of my favorite ways to control in the side control. Okay, a lot of people ask me about maintenance of positions, and of course, as soon as you make a transition, a guard pass or something, you should be able to control a position with less effort, using the mechanics of your body to make yourself heavier and tighter in the position. We see a lot of competitions, especially the competition world. People pass the guard, they get the points, but then 3 seconds later, they end up losing the position. Okay, they're not able to keep progressing the situation. Okay, so I'm gonna go show you guys my favorite ways to control the side control, and then if I wanna go to the other side and how to change sides more precisely. Okay, so I'm here with Giacomo. Please, Giacomo, down. Okay, so when we hear side control, okay, there's 3 basic points that I always want to control my opponent, which is his hip. Okay, when we talk about the hip, it's pretty much his ability to hide the hip like a hip escape and bring his knee inside. That's the number one thing that we need to make sure we control, is his ability to move the hip away or up and bring the knee inside, just like a hip escape. That's the number one thing that we need to pay attention. Second point of control is the armpit, okay, or the shoulder itself, okay, because for him to have a good hip escape, he needs to stay on his side, okay, so that's all the point of control. So all the time that I'm controlling him in side control, I should always try to keep his shoulders as spin as possible, because if he can't turn his shoulders, his hip movement will be limited. And last, his neck. Okay, because everything that he wants to move his hip, okay, you can look at that way, Giacomo. So he needs to turn his face, and then he's going to be able to turn his hips. Okay, so that's our third point of control. So which would be the neck, the underhook, okay, and now, which is very common, a lot of people, I see a lot of people doing, turn this way, is putting the knee like this, okay, inside control. But the thing is, when I use my knee like this, requires me a lot of like arm power to control him, or I have to control my hands and smash him, and I don't want to do that. Remember that we want to do minimal effort and using your body, your weight in a better fashion. The reason that I don't like this is that if he puts his knee, his sensitive knee, really close to me, look, it's almost from my hip. So if he explodes a little bit, explodes, boom, boom, his knee is inside. And then I'm gonna have a lot of problems, okay? So the first thing that I wanna do here is my control. So I'm gonna put one hand under his neck, and my hip is gonna be the one connecting to it, okay? Turn a little bit this way. That's how I want it, okay? Because now if you bump, my hip is always in connection with him. Always in connection, okay? Move your hip out, and I'm able to control him, okay? So all the time I have this control, is important that my hand stays in front of his head, okay? Because when he tries to turn, I keep my hand and my arm from letting him turn, okay? That's our 3 basic things here. And of course, my hand is going to be always under his armpit, okay? So just now bump, try to move a little. So keep all under control, keep his head. He can't turn his head. Even if I have a high control like this in the gable grip, it's important that I'm still in a diagonal fashion, controlling hip to hip. Okay, that's the first thing that we're going to talk about here. Now that I understand hip to hip, how to keep myself controlling there, sometimes the guy on the bottom really going to put a lot of effort and bring them inside. That might give us some problems. Okay, so turn this way again. So a lot of times, you know, maybe I just have my hand here, or my hand is on the arm, and he's able to really post on that hip and then bring the knee inside. Well, pay attention, his knee is coming in. So that's one thing that I really learned how to prevent. Again, sometimes hip to hip won't do the job. So what I'm gonna do, as soon as I feel his knee coming in, boom, I'll bring my knee with it. Okay, so now I brought my knee, and I'm pretty much seated on the top of his thigh. Okay, so as soon, put a little bit of energy. As soon as I feel that the knee wants to come in, I keep the head well positioned. I'm going to use my thigh to open his hip again. And my knee, in the end, is right behind his butt. As soon as I get him flat again, and then I can readjust. So that's my position. And I'm always driving my way forward. So bump, boom, he bumps, I stay here. Boom, I bump, boom, I stay here. Then I feel he's gonna bump, I bring the knee. Oh, I bring with it. Now, boom, 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 and then I open. Do it again, jack, boom, boom. I always control it. I can control with my hand on the floor. I can control with my hand on his collar. Keep going, jack, move a little bit. Boom. Okay, and then once he's stable, boom, knee in the stomach or mount position. Okay, that's our first control, which is facing him. The second control is the reverse one. Okay, is when I turn his legs to his legs. Okay, so usually I want to do this to when I'm losing the position, or I want to set up a setup for the mount, a basic one like that. So it's very important that I have conditions to change this, or set up a submission also. So what we're going to do, the idea is the same when we reverse. Instead of blocking hip to hip, it's going to be hip to shoulder. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. So sometimes I'm here jogging, maybe he's pushing my neck, and I'm losing that control. I'm feeling that I'm losing that hip to hip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over his arm, okay, and now my hip going to go straight to his shoulder to get that control. And look how my legs are spread open, just like if I would be in our previous position. And then this hand go to his hip, okay? I can make a hold on his belt. And now what happens here, the same way my hip was controlling his hip and keeping his body pinned, now my body, the whole side of my body is gonna control his chest. And he still can't move. Do a hip escape, Jacob, go. Oh, the hip escape is weak. Why? Because he's flat. Until he turns to his side, he's not gonna be strong. Okay, and then he can maybe put me back in the guard. Okay, so that's what it's gonna look like. Boom, turn, hip to hip, and go really high as I can here to make him very uncomfortable. Boom, that's what I wanna do. Now you ask me, I wanna go to the other side. Okay, it's the same exact thing. Now it's gonna be hip to this shoulder. Now my hip is gonna go to the other shoulder. So when I go the other side, I'm gonna go, I smash his face, if I have to, bring my elbow up, and now my hip goes on his hip. And my hand goes on his other hip, okay? So hip to shoulder, hand to hip, okay? And then sometimes he uses his hand, and maybe he's bugging me there. I don't like this. I'll go back to my previous position. Now hip to hip, and then block the head right there. And I always want to keep my position. Okay? Now, come on. So, hip to hip, hip to shoulder, hip to shoulder, hip to hip. It's always that connection. And pay attention that I'm always using my body. Very important. Okay? So go, Jack, move around. He starts to move. I control a little bit of elbow pressure, head pressure. Now he's really gonna insist on the knee. Bring your knee up. Open his leg again. Now make a decision. Now I'm in the shoulder again. Come on, keep moving, Jack. Oh, nice and strong body. Just stay low. Now I wanna change up. Boom. Hip to shoulder again. Keep moving, keep moving. Boom. Keep moving. I was controlling. Maybe I can set up the mount. Maybe not. We'll push it down. Hip to hip. Hip to shoulder. Control the head. Try to bring the knee again. Jack. Boom. Boom. I was controlling this. And then I can just bring my knee to the middle and take them out. Okay? So here for you guys is the way that I like to control side control. Very simple, very important when you're doing this drill to get your partner so you guys can flow until you get a real match and see how it works.